Well, as usual, I'm waiting for my laptop to catch up to us. And it's not there yet, which is really quite amazing that this takes so long. Sometimes, this is almost going to get to be a habit for me to say this, isn't it? It's kind of ridiculous. I'm not planning on using the chat during this, but I wanted to have this up just in case anyway. But it looks like it's not going to cooperate. Again. Well, wow. All right, well, I'll just leave it there and then we'll see if it comes up here shortly. If it doesn't, well, like I said, probably no harm done because but this is a call-in show anyway. I'm not planning on using the chat except maybe to check on things. So at any rate, here we are. Is the 21st, I do believe, yes, of February 2023. Welcome as you come in. Nice to see you all. And of course, this is the call-in show that I promised. And I think, I've got a speaker set up over here next to the microphone on the camera phone. And let's see, we've already got somebody calling in. Well, this is interesting because, hello, are
yes,
you there?
Colonel Potter. Colonel Potter.
Hi, how you doing? Hold on just a minute. Let me finish giving a little bit of information here. Who we got on the line?
This is Janet Klomberg. I have a question for you.
Okay, well, since I have you on the line, Janet, what I would like to know from the audience is if the volume on the speaker is sufficient for them to hear. So go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead and ask your question or whatever. But I'm going to be watching the chat here to see if the volume's correct. So I might have to have you repeat it, but go ahead.
All right, go ahead. I want to go ahead with this. I want to know about the deity and the Trinity and all these things that are being taught to the majority of the Christian world. All I know is this. Since I was a little girl, and my mom couldn't take us to church because she was crippled, and I saw Jesus crucified on the cross, at that age, I said to myself, that is the Son of God. And anybody who believes differently is called, you're in a cult, you don't believe right, you're gonna, all of these things that they say if you don't believe Jesus is God. And in my heart, I don't believe that. I need to hear from someone who is in depth at the scriptures like you are to please explain this to me. I need peace in my heart because I was in a ministry that taught Jesus was the Son of God for the majority of my life. And I have kind of been lost on where I fit in my world right now with what's going on and where I should be fellowshipping and what's going to be good for my fellowship. And it weighs very huge on my heart.
Okay, well, I'll address that. I just got to do another. Can you hear me okay? That's the next thing.
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. For everybody there, can you hear me as well? This is still testing ground here. Can you all hear me fine right now? You should be able to get me, I think. Let's see if okay. Everything seems to be working like it's supposed to. Okay, Janet. Wow, this is a very difficult question to approach. I have talked about it quite significantly, exhaustively, really, on my religion series and also in the Eisenman series. And to answer the question would actually take a lot more time than we have here. But I think I can give this much to you, okay? And a lot of people will be upset for me giving this information, but I've given it before.
Okay.
If you look at the book of James, the Epistle of James, you don't get any indication of the virgin birth as is normally taught by Christianity. In other words, Mary had no sex from a man. That she
right. I've been following this like a fine-tooth comb. Okay.
So you know that. That's actually in Gnostic and also in Egyptian and other what most people would call pagan. I don't like to use the word pagan, but that's the one that seems to, so people can understand it. For instance,
Right.
I talked about the goddess Neith in Egyptology. I don't know, a few back when I was talking about that. I also talked about the situation with Lilith and Yaldabaoth in the Gnostic
Yes, I know
scriptures.
all about that.
Okay.
I got all that history. The information that I found that I'm questioning you came from a book I read called The Babylonian Mysteries.
Yeah, and so
Have you ever read that book?
no, I have not read that one. Probably a lot of things similar to it though, because the Babylonian mysteries, of course, that also revolves around what happened to the Israelites, principally the Judeans, the Judahites when they were taken into Babylonian captivity. So
Right.
that all gets thrown in there. But they ran into the same thing in Egypt. And I showed this as well. And I'm not answering your question yet. I'm just getting this background information.
Right. Right.
The Israelites carried a lot of the Egyptian ideas along with them too. For instance, the idea of a resurrection. That was a big deal, but you don't really see it in the Old Testament unless you look for it pretty hard. But this is what I would say about your thing about Jesus, and again, it's going to upset some people, but I'm pretty upfront about it. I do believe that there was a man in the first century who basically was trying to restore ancient Israel, was called an insurrectionist by Rome, and crucified by Pilate. That information is in Josephus. It's also in some other records. Uh, However, the story of the Jewish, and this was a Samaritan guy. This was a guy who, as a matter of fact, Jesus was accused of being a Samaritan, not a Jew. Um, this was a Samaritan guy who the Samaritans called the Taheb. In history, he's called the Samaritan prophet, and he actually fits everything about Jesus that most people think about. The problem with the Jesus story is that the first century believers of Christian, what became Christianity, was originally the Messianic movement. And you get this from the Dead Sea Scrolls, you get it again from Josephus, you get it from other historians of the period. There was a morph that took place right around 100 to 150 AD, right in there, where it went from the Messianic movement to this God man.
Gotcha.
James would have been, and Peter and Jude, who you see in the New Testament.
Right.
These people, to call Jesus God, they would have considered to be blasphemy.
I agree. I've known this my entire life.
Yeah.
Here, what I do is when I listen to, I love to listen to Pastor Chuck Baldwin, but there are things that I don't agree with him on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
but his prophecy series is just phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. I follow him very
absolutely
closely.
Phenomenal. So the way I'm seeing it is that I'm drawing information from different sources, but I'm staying true to who I know God called me to be and what I know to be truth.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard for people to understand this truth. And I have lost a lot of friends over this.
Well, what I would say is this. I don't mean to be at odds with anybody that wants to believe the traditional line. I would rather somebody believe something and at least try to improve their life with the moral code, right?
Agreed. Yes.
Than nothing at all. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, if I talk to, and I ought to say this, it is verified now that Dr. Michael Heiser died either yesterday.
Oh,
or the day
no,
before.
I know. I saw that today when you posted it. He passed away yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was actually earlier, but that's because of what some people were saying that I was connected to. But at any rate, it definitely happened either yesterday or the day before. But I have a lot of respect for Dr. Michael Heiser. I have a lot of respect for Pastor Chuck Baldwin. I think.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
me too. I listen to them. I do. I listen to them, and I draw out the knowledge that I can get. But I kind of have this feeling like that when I'm at the Bema standing for my Lord and Savior, there's going to be this question, and I'm going to say, He was my Lord and Savior. He's my King. He is the Son of God, the Son of God, the Son of Man. For some reason, it seems to be such a huge deal.
Well,
in
term,
religious teachings, and they tell you that if you don't believe it, you're
right.
not going to heaven.
Well, yeah, that's one of the
you're
problems.
done.
That's a question of force, right? In other words, and that's why I get upset. People call me a heretic. All that is a pejorative that you call somebody who doesn't agree with you, and also
And I've never been that way with.
Yeah,
I mean, I love
right.
my friends. I love them to death.
Right.
And I remember years and years ago, long time ago, where we would have arguments about this. Not anymore. We've come to an understanding where we can get along, and we just don't talk about it. That's it. That's where it ends. You don't talk about it.
Right. You don't press those things. I have friends in the same category. They know where I stand. I mean, I don't need to make an issue of it. I don't have to get up there and stomp my feet and insist, because then I'm, trying to force something on them. So I go back to this. In his time, Jesus was not considered God on earth. The idea of the Son of God, even my oldest son will not like me saying this, because he's had a personal relationship with God. I mean, really, side by side. He's had a visitation from God when he was a little youngster and then older. But at any rate, there's some other things about that, which is why I still, I don't confront him on this. But the first century, there's no doubt that the first century idea of the Son of God was something. I mean, it says right in Luke that the genealogy, that Adam was the son of God, and it says that there were others as well. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's a title that you have after you've shown yourself worthy, so to speak. The Son of Man also is kind of funny. People don't really know what that means, but Jesus is identifying his genealogy. He's saying he's from Adam. That's really what he's saying. See,
okay.
so that identifies the proper line from Adam down to him, which is exactly what Noah was. He was perfect in his generations. That's what it meant. Same with Abraham, etc. And then Jesus declared that. But it goes back to some things from the Book of Enoch too, which would be too long to get into. But I guess what I'm saying to you, so we can get to another caller, is
okay.
What's important is that you have to find out what the truth is on your own without anybody else's help. You can ask for input and all that, but when it really comes down to it, you have to do it yourself, and nobody should hold you in derision because you're trying to seek the truth. Jesus is even quoted in the New Testament as saying, I always say that because I never know if he actually said it or not, but he's quoted as having said, all blasphemies are forgiven unto men, even a blasphemy against the Son of Man. But blasphemy against the Holy Ghost is not forgiven in this world or the next. And that last category is for people like what we call the fallen angels, people who actually absolutely, without a doubt, know the truth. They were with God, whatever, and they turn their backs on him and deny him. A lot of people try to say,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and there are very.
You know what? For me, look, I have done this my entire life. I have put my heart, my soul, my mind, my strength into understanding, and I know God showed me. And I'm very humble. I'm very humble.
Well, let me give you one last thing.
So the only reason I asked you this is because I am so humble, and I was, I love Pastor Chuck Baldwin, and I'm like, oh God, I have to be reassured that since I was 6 years old and I'm 60 years old, that I know in my heart that God showed me personally, the truth, and that's what matters for me. So I literally could start changing my mind because, like I said, I'm very humble, and I thought, no, that God has showed you this since you were 6 years old. No.
Yeah.
So it is very personal. You really nailed that for me, and I really, really appreciate that.
And I would like to, get into more depth into it, but let me just say these last two things, and then we'll go to a next caller. Thank you so much for being my experiment here to make sure this is set up well.
Oh, no problem. I was waiting for this.
Yeah. So the other thing is, I still stick with the two great commandments: love God and love your fellow man. Those are the two important ones. The idea of
and
Jesus,
love your neighbors as you love yourself.
Right.
Amen.
The idea of Jesus Christ is a title. It was not to one single individual. Jesus Christ just simply means the anointed one who saves. Okay?
Right.
And the
Okay.
Samaritan prophet fell into that. Moses fell into that. David, the King David, was even considered that. It's a title. It's not necessarily a person. It's a title like president or whatever. When you take the name of Jesus Christ upon you, and then I saw somebody here say that, well, Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and life. Well, first of all, that's in the Gospels, and there are some problems there, but that's okay. I can still deal with that personally. And again, this is how I look at it. I'm not demanding anybody else look at it this way. But what
Right.
it's really talking about is taking the attributes of God to yourself. When you take a name of somebody or some office upon you, you're supposed to act accordingly. For instance,
Right.
Biden took and this might get some people mad too, but Biden took the title of president on himself, and yet he's more worried about stuff going on elsewhere in the world than he is taking care of Americans. As a matter of fact, like this train thing, he's totally ignored it.
I know.
So
I
he is
know.
not. So
And
he is
and
not.
and, and I got, I got totally tricked in 2016. I met President Trump. I went to the airport. I was involved locally here in Broward when they tried to take the election here from, our governor, because I worked the election. I saw what they did. I saw the stuff coming in. It really concerned me that, like, I was never involved in politics my whole life. I was involved in biblical research ministry and witnessing to people and getting them through 36-hour classes and rejoicing with them. That was my life. And then all of a sudden, I saw myself turn into somebody that I didn't recognize. I didn't recognize myself. I turned into this protester.
Yeah.
They showed up, but that was a God calling for that.
Yeah, that doesn't do any good either. Well, just to show you the point here, I'm getting accused of being blasphemous on here already. I don't know why people come here to listen to me.
Well, I've encountered that. I've encountered that my entire life.
Yeah, blasphemy is
and it
another
doesn't
one
bother me anymore.
Well, no, but it just shows that there are people out there who even come here. But you guys ought to know how I look at this, okay? And if you don't like it, go listen to somebody else. Go listen to what's a good one? James, what's his name? The guy who was caught in bed with a whore, and then
James McDonald?
No. James Swaggart. James Swaggart.
Jimmy Swaggart. Wow, yeah.
People still listen to him after, but at any rate, the point is, I can't be accused of blasphemy when Jesus actually said, and this shows how these people that say they're Jesus freaks don't really understand the scriptures. Jesus himself, as quoted as I just said, all can be forgiven of blasphemy, even blasphemy against the Son of Man, but not blasphemy against the Holy Ghost. So
see, I never understood that verse like that until you just shared that with me. So now it's when I speak to somebody about it, I know that that verse is huge. You just don't know how huge that is for me to understand that, because, like I said, it's just been pressed on my heart. I've loved the Lord since I was a young girl. I used to go to on a bus to churches that my mom would send me to, and it was just that seeking since you were at a very young age. And God will take you in your personal walk. It's such a personal, tender walk between you and Him.
Yes.
But when you're humble, like I am, sometimes you start to doubt yourself, and you start to doubt all those years that you knew something to be true. You know what? I listened to Casey from Enter the Stars. I like to hear his decodes and the things that he shares. And I just shared on there, I believe Jesus is the Son of God. And he said, Janet, I agree with you. There's very few people that understand the depth of the word, just like you shared it, but you can still walk in love and love your neighbor and love your friends despite all of that, and you don't have to get into a confrontation with them.
Yeah, you let. It's like I've told everybody, and I'll close with this. If you believe that God is God, and if you know that you're being honest in your heart, God will lead you in the path, and it may not be the way everybody else goes, despite what the Christians like to say. That's between you and God, and I would leave it at that. Thank you for calling, Janet. I hope you have a great day.
You too, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Out here.
Bye.
Okay, let's see what happens here. Sorry, okay. So for now on, just so everybody knows, let's do this. Now, I gave Janet a lot of time there, primarily because of subject matter, but also because I wanted to just make sure everything really is set up so I'll remember how to do this again. Um, so figure out your question so that you can ask it in about 30 seconds or less. I know that's hard, but see if you can do that, and then hang up, or you can hang on the line until I'm finished. But just stop talking at that point, okay? And I'll take it from there, okay? Because we don't want to overwhelm people too much here, okay? All right. So, all right. We'll just wait for another call in here. Looks like. And I know these things, a lot of these things really upset people, but the fact of the matter is that you've got to understand that I don't speak from a position of ignorance or not understanding. I spent a lot of time at this. You may not agree with it. That's fine. But I'm not here calling you a heretic because you disagree with me. I'm not here calling you blasphemous because you disagree with me. So I don't expect you to do it to me. Okay. Let's see if we can get this answer here. I'm having problems with my phone. Sorry about that. Okay, we'll just go with this. This is from Colorado. Okay, sorry I missed that other caller. This phone's a little slow in responding. So who do we have on the line? Oh, they left already. Okay. Wow, I'm getting all sorts of calls here. Okay, who are you and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, hey. Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, my goodness. My name is Rebecca, and I'm from Arkansas.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Arkansas. Well, what's your question, Rebecca?
Well, actually, I'm going to do this very fast. I don't have a question, but I'm watching you live, and I just want to tell you that I really enjoy you.
Well, I appreciate that. I kind of enjoy this too. It's hard to put yourself out in front of people like this, knowing that, you'll get some people that agree with you and you'll get some that just hate your guts. And then you have others that are just kind of curious as to what's going on. So anyway, I appreciate you saying that.
All right. Well, thank you, and I hope you continue doing what you're doing because it's very interesting.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope that everything goes well for you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can get this one. 302. I think that's the call that was supposed to hung up. Like I say, I'm still working out the bugs on this thing. This phone, it shows a call waiting, but at the same time, when I try to answer, it'll sometimes boot the last caller. So let's see what this is. I tell you what, I'll call this person back. All right, Washington State, is that who I've got here? Hello?
Hi, Roy.
Yeah. What's your name?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's your name?
Robert.
Robert. Yeah, go ahead, Robert. Where are you from? Washington State?
I actually moved to Florida.
Okay.
So got out of where I was at and moved somewhere a little bit somewhat decent.
But you still have the Washington State phone number, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, good. So I know my phone's working right. Okay, go ahead, Robert. What you got?
First, I did vote for you, and I sent you a message for president in the last election. So I hope you got my message.
That's
I screenshotted
impossible.
my ballot.
Well, that's very nice, but that's of course an impossibility. But at least you didn't vote for somebody who was going to put you down the drain. So that's good.
I'd rather vote for somebody with character.
Well, people say I'm quite a character, so I guess that'll fit.
My question is religious. What were your thoughts on William Brennan?
William
And I'll,
Brennan. Which one are you talking about? So I know which one you're mentioning, because I know a couple of them.
the one that they call the last prophet of the times.
Oh,
He was
okay.
a pastor in the 50s.
Yeah, no, I'm not aware of him. You know, there are a lot of good people out there. I don't know exactly what his points were, or what, you know. You're talking about a prophet and all that. I'll definitely check into it, but I'm not really aware of much about him. Actually, nothing at all. I thought you might be talking about somebody else, but yeah. So he was in the 50s, you say?
Yeah, he was, when he was young, he had God speak to him, and a lot of people considered him the last prophet of the age.
What was his?
I'm learning a lot about him. He was a Baptist. He was actually he traveled all over the world. And then once you go down the rabbit hole, you constantly get good and bad videos about people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Let me ask you, just because we don't want to take a lot of time so we can get a lot of callers. I took a little too much time with Janet, but just give me a real quick summary of what his prophecies were concerning.
He did divine healing, and there's several videos. A lot of them are from the 50s, but there are a lot of testimonies about him, and he had a lot of visions. He's supposedly the only person he has a photograph of him with what they're saying was a divine picture of a halo over his head during one of his seminars, or his ministerings, I should say. But the church that I'm going to kind of follows what he does, and it's a new church to me, but I mean, great people.
Well, I certainly would. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to say, you know, keep that up. You know, I've been through a lot of religions, and people say, well, that's what's wrong with you. But you know, I tried to study things from a lot of different angles so that I could make a decision that was reasonable, logical, and yet, you know, constituted faith as well. But I haven't arrived, you know. There are some things I'm adamant about, but I will look up him and William Brennan and see what I can find out about him. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah, you too. God bless you, Roy. Keep up all the great work you do. We really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you being patient with me.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's see if I'm going to get this one right. Who have we got here?
This is Michael. Hi.
Hi, Michael, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rehoboth Beach, Lewis, Delaware.
Oh, okay. You know, I don't know if you know, but I grew up in Maryland, and I went to both Ocean City, Maryland, and Rehoboth Beach every summer.
Yeah, I did overhear that on one of your casts.
Yeah,
Thanks.
so I love that place. I'd really like to get back one day. But anyway, nice of you to call. What's your question or comment?
Yeah, I appreciate the time, sir. Appreciate what you're doing here. I just want to give you a quick shout out. I so appreciate your promotion and thanks and tribute to the former late Nancy Morgan Hart. I did happen to see that tribute. I captured the loop of the spirit visitation, if you will.
Yes,
so
yes.
Appreciate what you did there.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, Bettina and I, you know, Nancy Morgan Hart, her real name, that was her pseudonym, trying to protect her family. She was quite well known in California and didn't want people to know what she was up to with this headlines with a voice thing. Her real name, of course, was Bettina Ursula Brancato. And she and I never met in person, but I got to tell you, I was just so amazed with her. You know, we basically had phone and text and email conversations for about 2 years, and when she did finally die from the spinal cancer, I was pretty beat up. Probably more so, probably just under when I lost my wife Carol, just almost that bad. And I don't know if you ever talked to her personally or had any associations with her, but you know, she could drink and cuss like a sailor, but she was she loved God and she
Yep.
loved the truth.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know?
A couple of Twitter exchanges, nothing really beyond that, but I appreciate her perspective on the world affairs and so forth. I just want to briefly mention a couple things, I guess, about current affairs, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
There's a lot to unpack, I guess, about the trains and the explosions and so forth, secondary knock-on effects.
Yeah, one happened down there near you, apparently, last couple of days.
Well, yeah, I heard something up there in Philly or something. They detected an improvised device there in the last day or so. So yeah, something a lot to be watching in our area. We can be enthralled by dirigibles in the sky, but it's all distractions.
Yeah, well, I'd say two things. One, we've let people into this country that we have no idea who they are. And when you do that, it's a Trojan horse, and it's been done deliberately. I have nothing against people coming here from other countries, but there's a program how to come in, and when that's subverted, then all of our safety and security is. They keep saying, well, they want to take our guns away so that we make people safe. Well, and then they turn around, they let every Tom, Dick,
and do the due
criminal.
process. If they do the due process, all in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you know how that goes. So anyway, getting
Yep.
to these, we've had food processing plants destroyed. We've had metal factories. We've had trains. We've had who knows what else is going on right now. Cliff High gave out some information. I don't know where he got it, but originally, but apparently one of the farmers in Central California have found. I think there's like 10 or more rail cars holding some type of liquid in them that are just sitting there, and they're very suspicious now that maybe that's going to be used to cause a similar thing that happened there in Ohio. So, but what I'd say is I have no doubt that we're under attack. Our government's attacking us. All you got to do is look at what the FBI does these days. They don't investigate crimes. They investigate people.
Yeah.
You have.
I'm going to hang up here, sir, and let you
okay.
continue.
Sure.
I appreciate you, sir. God bless
All
you.
right.
Godspeed,
Thank you.
and everybody, keep your heads,
On a
looking
swivel.
for
Right.
what they need to look for. So,
All right. Thanks a lot.
cheers.
Yeah. So at any rate, I do believe that a lot of these things that are happening have signs that we're being attacked by somebody. Who knows, right? Somebody. Okay, this one's from Georgia, it looks like. You're from Georgia. What's
Hello?
your name?
Is this Roy?
It is. Hi, how you doing?
Can't believe I made it on. All right.
What's your name?
Roy, brother, I just wanted to tell you I love your stuff, man, even when you get angry. It's your knowledge of the Bible is profound, and I really appreciate all of the stuff you've taught me about it. But I just wanted to say this right quick. It is obvious that we're under attack from our government.
And they're allowing other actors that are not in our government but foreign attack us as well. They're absolutely doing that.
Yeah, well, we're under attack from every direction, down to our very DNA.
Exactly.
And I just really appreciate everything you do, buddy. I mean, I watch you all the time. Anytime you pop up, it's right there on the front of my stuff. And I love you as a brother in Christ, and just wanted to tell you that. Thank you for all you do, bud.
Well, thank you for letting me know, and I appreciate it. And just so you know, the Christ thing is good, okay? My whole thing is about who that individual was and what he really did in the first century. So thank you very much.
Right. Okay, bud. It's good to talk to you. I can't believe I got through this. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
All right. I hope I get to meet you in person one day. I'll hug your neck.
I hope so, too. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, buddy.
Somebody's, I guess, having problems with, let's see here. Just leapfrog over the trolls. Hi, Liza Jean. Thanks for helping me out. Yeah, it got bad, but that's okay. I kind of anticipate that those things are going to be a situation. And if they get out of hand, I'll do my duty. Yes, Liza Jean, thank you for being here and helping to take care of me. I have a hard enough time chewing gum and walking at the same time. So all this, I got the speaker here and I got the phone. I've got the laptop, it gets pretty difficult actually. Well, let's see who we have here. Okay, this is from Ohio. It says, "What's your name?"
This is Cheryl.
Hi, how you doing? Are you actually in Ohio?
Yes, I am. I'm in Northeast Ohio, between Cleveland and Erie, PA. The PA border.
Okay, so you've been seeing a lot of things happen up in your area.
Yeah, we have. We have. It's been kind of crazy. And besides that, I watch the skies, and there's so much of them just grazing us with this stuff, whatever they're putting out there. But that's another story.
Yes.
I wanted to say thank you for all you do, because I really appreciate you, Royston. I'm a Catholic. I'm a traditional Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Francis is an anti-pope. So sometimes I don't always agree with your religious stuff.
Oh, sure.
And
no, I wouldn't expect you to.
I know. And so I just wanted to put that out there. But I wanted to say that from the bottom of my heart, you put out the most excellent information regarding our government, politics, the deep state, the dark deep state, and what's going on. And I rely on you for that.
Well, I appreciate that, but make sure that I'm going to say this, right? I give out a lot of other resources for you because, nobody has it exactly right. I try to keep my fingers on what's going on, but at the same time, something can slip through, or I might get the wrong idea about something and give out some wrong information. And I've been corrected a time or two, but I appreciate the fact that you appreciate that I'm giving it the effort I do.
Yes, I do. And when you put someone else, that I need to listen to or whatever, like General McGregor or any of the other, good people that you have, I always take the time to listen to them.
Well, good. And I appreciate that, and pass them around. The more people that get to know them, the better.
I agree. But I just wanted to thank you, and I'm going to log off and listen to the rest of your show.
All right. You take care. Have a wonderful day.
All right. You too. God bless.
Same to you. Okay. I'm kind of getting the hang of this. I think chewing gum and walking is a little easier than this, but we're managing okay. You all are helping me too by the way that you handle the way we're talking and the subject matter. Let's see. There was something else I was going. The other night I mentioned. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I said that it looks like that Russia is about ready to start their air campaign in earnest. Now, you're not getting a lot of information right now, but in fact, apparently starting, I guess it was way early this morning, Ukraine time, high altitude bombers started hitting Ukrainian targets along the line of contact and deeper in. So the air campaign has started with heavy bombers dropping 2,000-pound bombs on these so-called fortresses that the Ukrainians have. So something is happening, okay? That doesn't mean that there's going to be a blitzkrieg, because that's not how Russia works. But I was right that they were starting their high-altitude combat aircraft campaign, so that's well underway. Okay, hi, who are you and where are you from?
Yes, well, Mr. Potter, honor to talk to you. My name's Mike. I live in Indiana.
Okay, Mike.
Well, about the offensive, it seems like it is going to start. And when you think about it, it would make no sense for the president of the Russian Federation to talk about actual military future events at a State of the Union speech.
Oh, exactly. You're absolutely right. Yes.
I thought it was one of the best speeches. How did you read Putin's essay?
The essay or the speech?
the essay from about a year ago?
I
Where
probably,
he,
if I didn't read it, I had access to it. I'll just say up front that Putin has more. They call him a thug. He was in the KGB. They call him a thug. They call him. He got rid of the oligarchs who were raping Russia with the help of the people over here in the U.S. and for their purposes. So that's why they don't like him. And of course, Russia's been in the targets of the Western countries for a long time. But I think Putin is, in fact, probably, yeah, I'd say he is the best leader of a country in the world today.
well, Hal, I got a question for you. Do you believe that when they start the offensive, they will come in across the entire front line at the same time?
No.
Because I was just thinking.
No, they won't do that. They'll have most likely, the Russian way of war, as I've kind of explained, they move under what's called an ISR umbrella, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. They'll keep their main force with that. Now, it's a large thing. Every tactical battalion tactical group has access to this. But the way I understand it, and I'm kind of looking at Colonel McGregor on this and Scott Ritter, those two, because they really understand the Russian tactics and strategy. But I think they'll probably initially come up one axis of advance from the south. That's not to say that they'll release pressure on the rest of the line. No, they'll hold that line under pressure as they pierce through, probably in the south. Now I know, nobody really knows. We don't have access to their high command and what they're doing. But from the buildup of the troops, it looks like there's going to be holding actions quite a long way along the line as they go through from the south and head up to Kramatorsk and that area like that. So and the bombing campaign right now that I just mentioned is ongoing in that area. So here we go.
Okay. All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate talking to you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Okay, bye.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Well, let's see. Whoever's on the other line right now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, you might want to turn down your computer or whatever you're listening to. We're hearing the feedback in the background.
I just paused it.
Oh, thank you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. Okay.
I'm calling from Timmins, Ontario.
Oh, wow. International call. What do you know? Trudeau's going to come after you for talking to me.
Oh, I know. He's probably writing all this down right now.
Yeah, no doubt. What's your comment or question?
I just wanted your opinion. I heard today that the greening has been sighted in Israel, and I just wanted your thoughts.
Say that again. It kind of cut out on me. What's been cited?
The greening.
The greening. The greening.
Yes, which starts the new year on the lunar cycle.
I don't know anything about that. I've got to tell you, again, not to get anybody upset here, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a follower of the idea that the current state of Israel has anything to do with the Israelites of the past. It's a nation state that even
exactly.
Yeah, it's a nation state that
also.
It actually prohibits.
That's why we don't follow the rabbi schedule. We follow the lunar schedule,
right,
which starts with the sighting of the barley.
I see what you're saying. Okay, I use the sidereal and the lunar calendars together to determine that. But yeah, that's fine.
Very nice.
The effort's important. But at any rate, the whole Balfour Declaration and the way the state of Israel was founded and what it does not obey Torah. Now, there's some indications now that Netanyahu has done some manipulations in the Knesset and some other places to get the theocratic part of the government started. But that's worrisome because they're going to go right into the Noahide laws, which of course make the worship of Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, and all that idol worship, which they can execute people for. if they get those things in
Yeah.
put in. So there are some real problems. And by the way, that's not biblical. That's not Torah. That's not even Torah. That's Talmudic. So it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Great. Thanks so much.
Same
I've
here.
been watching you for quite a number of years. I follow you on Twitter, and you just keep doing what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank
Beautiful.
you so much. You take care.
You too, Roy. Thanks. Take
Out
care.
here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see if I can get this one. All right. Supposedly, this is from Colorado. Let's see if it is.
Yeah,
Is it? Who are
David
you?
Gordon.
What's your name?
I'm David Gordon. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh,
I
okay,
had
David.
ideas of running for governor at one point, and you
Oh.
counseled me that they never let me do that.
Oh, really?
obviously.
Yeah. Well,
But interestingly, I did get a nod from the League of Women's Voters at the time. This was months ago, before the election, of course, to debate on stage with
Oh, well,
the
good.
current governor.
outstanding.
Yeah. So, but then they canceled it based
Well,
on
that's
this
'cause you
idea
were
that they want to do a empty chair thing.
Yeah. You were going to speak, so that's probably why. What's your comment or question?
Yeah. Well, I have a very interesting one. I am an inventor, and I'm inventing ways to be a new governor this state, but that's a little delayed now. We have some other ideas. But I have a big question that you're the only person on earth that could possibly answer it.
Oh,
or perhaps my buddy Rob Skiba
don't-
could have.
Don't praise me like that. I don't want to fail, but go ahead.
No,
and
no,
answer.
you're wonderful. I love your work. I'm a little bit out of breath and in awe of you, sir. You're
Oh,
an amazing
no,
Lord,
no,
so
no,
thank you
no.
for all you do.
Oh no, you all are the wonderful ones. Trust me. But anyway, go ahead and ask. I'm sorry.
Here's the big one. So, all right. So I've been trying to, we understand that the Bible, as we understand it, is not well understood, and that many of the timelines or whatever is involved are certainly under question as far as your interpretation of the earlier I call it first century Christianity, if you will. But here's the big one. So are you familiar with the flamenco timeline?
I can't say I've heard of it, but I can't say I know a lot about it.
Well, what it is, basically, if you cut out the Dark Ages, which were inserted into the Scaliger analysis of the history of the world,
Okay, I got you.
you get 2,000 years. If you go to Flamenco, who studied it based on the correlation between known lunar events, like double eclipses in the same month, things like this. It
Right.
could put a timeline to things.
Sure.
He says it means there's only 1,000 years since Christ.
Yeah.
In fact, in 1033 would be the millennium
Right.
of that.
Right. I think there's a lot that, I'm an historian by training, and I see a lot of these anomalies in the historical record. I bring it up, frankly, in my book, In the Crimson Thread. I talk about the time difference there. So yeah, I'm aware of that. I don't know that we're 1,000 years off, but that could be, with the way things are. There's.
Would that have?
Go ahead.
Would that have significance?
Well, certainly it would.
In other words,
Yeah.
wasn't there going to be like 1,000 years of the devil rules the world? Maybe
Yes,
that
yes,
happened after
right.
Christ. Maybe it ends now.
Right,
That's
and
the
I
point.
see-
Maybe we're at 2010, 33.
Right, and I see what you're saying, and I can certainly understand that viewpoint, considering especially the way the world is right now. If the devil hasn't been unleashed, I don't know what is. And
Yeah.
So I think that's great. I will look that up, but I think that's a very good possibility. Isaiah even said that the wicked people would think to change times and laws. So here we are. So it could very well be the case.
Very much.
Alrighty.
Well, hey, thank you. I'll go
Thank you.
offline here and hear the rest of your program. Thanks for all you do. We all love you so much, I'm sure. So
Well,
thanks again, Roy.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, I get a little uncomfortable when people say, nice things. I mean, it's good, but it's better than getting called a blasphemer and a heretic. So I guess I got to look at it from that point of view. Okay, this says it's a call from New York. What's your name?
It is. It's darn true. Please don't think that my questions are disrespectful because
No,
they're
no, that's
serious.
all right. That's all right.
Okay.
Try not to
I've had-
try not to take more than 30 seconds though. You know, I kind of made that rule. But
Okay.
go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
have about 6 questions. Have you used a portal or Stargate or seen somebody come out of one? That's 1. What do you think about the Grand Solar Flash? 2. Have you seen clones or robotics, robotoids for yourself? 3. What do you think about the Super Soldier Program? 4. Have you ever seen slit pupils on a human or them shapeshift? And what do you think about the time travel according to Albert Lambert Weber, where he says in 1971 they had already pre-selected George W. Bush through Operation or Project Pegasus? Thank you so much. I'll take my answers off the air.
All right. Well, and I probably won't remember all those questions, but I'll try to answer what I can. You know, the answer to some of those questions, if I told you, people consider me a lunatic, which they do anyway. So I guess I'm not really stepping out on a plank here. The one that stands out to me, well, there are 2 of your questions that stand out to me. Have I ever seen anybody come through a Stargate? Well, I don't know that that's what it was, but I've talked about an experience that I had when I was at Fort Ord, California. I think I mentioned it in a YouTube video some time ago that an individual, an entity, did come through a portal, and he had 2 other people with him. It's in my book anyway, my autobiography. I kind of tweaked it there because I didn't want everybody to think I was totally nuts, but I would say that was kind of what you're talking about. I don't know that it was necessarily a Stargate situation, but it definitely was a portal that opened, and these 3 entities came through and gave me a message. It was a spanking partly, you know, and it was partly a reassurance of who I am and who we are, that kind of thing. Okay, so I can answer that pretty easily. The other thing that I probably shouldn't mention, but I will, I was in Las Vegas, California, just south of Area 51. Of course, this was back about, let's see, it'd be about 8 years ago, I think, 8 or 9 years ago. And I went to a golf course there, and I got to know some people, one of whom was a Russian scientist. He was now an American citizen, but his father came over as a Russian scientist. After World War II, this Russian scientist was brought to the United States, kind of like the same kind of thing with the paperclip program for the Germans. But this was a Russian, and went to work at Area 51. And now this was his son. And, you know, I got to know him pretty well. Well, I'll make this quick, and if people want to leave, okay, you know, I understand. I went up to across the street from the golf course was a Marriott hotel with an Irish pub in it, and they also had, of course, a casino, and they had another area, a big auditorium. And in that auditorium, there was a band playing that night. But I wanted to go to the Irish pub because they have a smaller group in there, and it's kind of nice, you know. You get to sit in a nice place and hear Irish music. So I was in there. I didn't tell anybody I was there. Well, here comes this Russian, who again worked at Area 51. He had an U.S. clearance, all that kind of stuff, right? Russian descent. He was an American citizen, but he was of Russian descent. His father was this Russian scientist that had been brought in. And now this guy worked at Area 51 as well. Well, he walks in, and he walks right up to me. He says, "Hey, Roy, come and join our party over in the large auditorium." Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to stop that. I guess I could turn it down. Let me do that. I'll just turn it down for now. So, wow, that's the one problem I have with this, right? Okay, I'll turn that back up in a minute as soon as I take another call. So he comes and he gets me, and we go in, and he starts. His group is standing at the back of the auditorium, and I'm going through and I'm shaking hands with these people. Well, there's this one guy. He's kind of tall, kind of 3/4 of the way through the group, and he's wearing glasses, and he looks different to me. But I just figure, just a different kind of guy. And we walk up to him, and my Russian friend introduces me to this guy, and I'm looking at him right in the eyes, and I take his hand, and immediately his eyes changed. And his appearance changed as well. I won't describe exactly what it was, but he could tell I saw it. And he didn't even wait for the rest of the introduction. He turned and left. And I turned to my Russian friend now, who's standing there with a big grin on his face. He says, "Do you see now?" True story. And I forgot the rest of your questions, but I think you can tell from my answer to those two things. There's a lot out there that we don't really comprehend, and the government doesn't want us to know because it might set us free if we know the truth, right? Seek for the truth, and the truth will make you free. They don't want you to do that, so they cover all that stuff up. Knowledge is power. Okay, Inglewood, Florida is this one. Inglewood, Florida, right? What's your name? Hold on, now I got to turn it back up because I turned it down because it was bothering people. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. My name is Charmaine. How are you tonight?
Fine, Charmaine. Thank you.
I had a question. Do you know the biblical, biblical, I don't know how to word this. Do you know about the confounded moon?
Say that one more time.
The confounded moon?
I'm not certain I'm aware of that. Explain a little bit, and I might catch on.
Oh, okay. It's Isaiah 24:23 talks about the moon being confused, confounded.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see where you're going. All righty.
Okay, and also it's also in Revelation.
Yeah, the
sun
shall be darkened.
I don't know if you're huh?
Yeah, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall be turned to blood.
Yes. Are you aware that that's actually happening right now?
Well, I have had I haven't seen it myself, and I kind of watch the moon quite a bit. I've had people send me pictures of this rotation and some other things and getting off course, but I can't say I've witnessed that myself. But I haven't gotten out there with a sextant, and taken measurements and that kind of thing. So it could
right.
Be.
And you're an ex-military, so you followed the moon for navigation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to let you know I actually have a lot of evidence, and I will. I'm usually on your live chat trying to get your attention.
Oh, really? Okay. So, yeah.
But I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I will make a post and let people know where to find me.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay.
Okay. You have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I know those phone calls come through the speaker too, and that was the one thing I saw that I knew was going to be a problem, but I figured that we could probably work through it. Yeah, that thing on the moon, I have not been able to see that myself, and it's true. Before GPS came along, we used maps and we used moon, the whole thing with sextants and that kind of thing. Not really too much, but those things were used quite a bit, but I've never noticed it actually, so I'll have to keep my eye out for it. Let's see what's going on here. So they can take human form. Sunset, well, this guy certainly did. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. All right. But I know what I saw, and the reaction of my Russian scientist friend, who, of course, he was now an American citizen, but he thought it was funny. So, yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, Ralph Russell, I think that's what the last caller was talking about, that the moon gets off its natural path. Now, I think I've noticed that from time to time, but that has a lot to do with the seasons and the position of the Earth in its own orbit. So some of those things are probably natural. I used to be in astronomy pretty heavy. It's been a while, though. So who knows? Mel Gibson knew in the Passion. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but okay. All right. Are we experiencing a pole shift? Liza Jean asks. A apparently the core of the Earth is spinning a different direction now. Um, I don't know all the details on that. I've seen some other people talking about it. Our magnetic pole is definitely shifting. It's been shifting for a number of years. I remember watching the airport. I think it was somewhere in Florida. They had to change their coordinate signs for the pilots because the magnetic readings had changed so significantly. And apparently that's something they have to do quite often now. But I'm not an expert at that, so I can't give a whole lot of expert testimony on how that would be. Okay, let's see here. Huh. All right. That's funny. I even get spam calls, apparently. At least that's what it says. All right. Maybe we're done. That would have been pretty quick. We only did an hour. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Yeah. Somebody's talking about the rapture. There is a question about what actually happened at. Oh, there we go. Let me get this. All right. This says you're a spam caller. Is that true?
No, it shouldn't. I don't know why I would say that.
I don't know either. What's your name?
Ty. I actually met you at the Utah Gun Show.
Oh, okay.
I was with my wife and 2 daughters.
Yes, I remember. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Well,
so
good.
I had a kind of a crazy dream last night or this morning, and I just want to see what your thoughts are on it if I was just going crazy.
Well, up front, I'm not Zafnath Paneak. Okay, I'm not a Joseph Dream reader, but I have a lot of.
I don't know if it relates to some in the Bible or.
Well, let's hear it. Be interesting.
I was brought to my attention Joel in the Old Testament. Joel,
yes.
Chapter 2, verse 28.
Okay.
Talks about visions and like we'll see visions and stuff. Well, I was asleep this morning and it was like very clearly. I woke up and told my wife, and I just kind of got freaked out with it, with everything going on. But I seen like 2 suns in the sky, and the moon was kind of next to it. So I was like trying to get a picture of it so people would believe that it was 2 suns and not just the sun and the moon.
Right.
So I was trying to line all 3 up in my phone, and then all of a sudden a big fireball come shooting overhead like a meteor or like a nuclear bomb, and just a big explosion, and then all of a sudden all the planes just started dropping out of the sky, like an EMP or something.
Right.
So I usually don't have dreams or ones that I can remember, but it's like woke me up and freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just with all the stuff going on, I'm kind of worried about EMP or if there's a little bit of meaning to it. Just figured you'd be a good person to ask about it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't interpret dreams. I have a hard enough time with my own. But just from hearing what you said, the mind is kind of it takes a lot of things, especially in your dream state, takes a lot of different information and throws it all together. Sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't, but there's always a message there of one sort or another. This sounds like it was, just from hearing about it, it does sound like it was a dream that was possibly given to you, possibly as an insight or a warning. The 2 suns are really important. I'm not saying that there was, Nibiru or anything like that. The sun is kind of like, if there are 2 of them, it could be like, pay attention. I'm going to get your attention. So you see the 2 suns first, and it gets your attention. And then these other things start happening. I think we're real close to those kinds of events. I mean, it's a tragedy. The leaders of our nations are so selfish and evil that, like I've said often, they'd rather destroy us all than lose their power. And they want us gone anyway. So all these disasters and all these things that happen, they applaud them, and they cause them too. They cause as many as they can. So I think it's a warning dream. I think we are close to something, not necessarily celestial origin, but troubles here. And
Yeah.
that's one of the signs, of course, is that the stars would fall from heaven, the sun would be hidden, and the moon would be turned to blood, which is what we talked about here a few minutes ago with another caller. So Ty, I think there's some message there. What I would say to do, and you've probably already done it anyway, is I would, in prayer, in meditation, I would ask for guidance to understand the dream, to help you interpret it, and then freely
Right.
share it, because that's what it was given to you for, was to share.
Yeah, it was just like, usually I can't remember dreams because they're not that important. This just like, it had my attention, and it just like freaked me out. I woke up like, what the crap was that?
Yeah, I think there's something
definitely,
to it, and I think you'll figure out what it is if you meditate on it. Don't try real hard. Don't make it an obsession, but just say, may I have the interpretation of the dream for myself? And I think that's legitimate. Okay.
all right.
All right. And it was nice meeting you there and your family. It's so good to see a family with, staying strong and close with their kids. That's important. That's the most important thing there is right now.
Yep, absolutely. It was good meeting you too.
Same here. Take care, Ty.
You take care.
All right, out here.
All right. Bye.
That's funny. It said spam. Okay, I was answering a question. I forgot what it is now. So anyway, sorry about that. What does the word rib mean in Hebrew? Well, I've seen a lot of people ask that. There's some different definitions. It's not just a curved thing. Here we go with another one. Okay. What's your name and where are you from?
Roy. Debbie Donovan.
Debbie. Well, on this phone, you gotta understand, Debbie. I have your phone number in my regular phone, but this is the call. This is my trash phone. This is the one that I can toss if I need to, and I'm taking the calls on.
Oh, so, that's what I call this one.
Yeah, that's good. So how you doing, Debbie?
Excellent. I love your call-in. This is a cool new addition to your programming.
Yeah, well,
very smart.
Well, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but I finally decided I had to. Primarily because my son Jeremy, he wants to talk about Psalms 82, and have us both do it, and so I really put it together for that, which we're going to do. I think this next weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, we're going to have a show where we discuss Psalms 82. So anyway, yeah, I recognize.
We all love the Psalms.
Yeah,
we all
absolutely.
love the Psalms.
Absolutely.
For sure. There's a lot of words in that poetry.
Yeah. So have you got a particular thing you'd like to say, or did you just want to say hello? Which is fine. I like that. I appreciate you saying hi.
I like to say hi, but I'm fascinated by your questions. I mean, they're very diverse. That's the best part about your calling. There's like some things going out there that are really interesting, because I've heard some of your stories too, and I'm like, yep, that's true.
Yeah, we've had some interesting discussions, haven't we? Yeah, we really have.
No, it's so funny. So, I guess I would love to know. My question is, because this whole new trend within the radical left to cancel women.
Yeah.
And I'm a woman, you know that.
Sure.
Doesn't it go, I feel like there's this always thing to deny that there is a divine feminine, like a counterpart to God.
Right.
Yes, God created us in his form, and he created man and woman.
Exactly.
He created two species. So there must be a divine species, not just a male entity that we worship, but it's always hidden, always canceled. Or there's also these groups that will then weirdly ritualize and do crazy things to idolize the divine feminine.
Right.
So they either go both ways, where you can get extreme, God worship in the male form, or extreme, where they're drinking menstrual blood and stuff like that. That's weird. So, why I guess my question is, as I'm walking up the stairs, sorry, why is this need to eradicate women from the story of humanity and life lately?
Well,
I mean, I feel like that's the biggest,
well, it is.
tell.
Well,
If you want to talk from a biblical perspective or a sociological perspective, both are damaging to the spirit and the society.
Yeah, exactly.
Is my point.
No, and you're absolutely right. And I think you know that I've spent a lot of time explaining that in my videos and in my lessons. And the fact of
I know you love it.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that it's very interesting because a lot of the social constructs, and that's really what they are now. They're false social constructs that are coming along now. Back women won't like me saying this, but the entire idea of women's liberation and all of that was not what it appeared to be, and then it moved down. And bear with me for a minute, and you'll see what I'm saying. Then it went to men and women can do the same thing, right? They're equal pay for equal work. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but the point is where they're leading us and where they find
I do.
Yeah.
You can't do what I do, and I can't do what you do.
Right.
So let's just be honest.
All right. Well,
but there's our point.
Right.
Yeah.
So then,
okay.
So then what they did is they put it now to where a guy can be a woman if he declares it, and vice versa. And they've got guys competing with women in women's sports and winning the trophies and stuff. So what we've done is we've denigrated woman, and that's been my problem from the very beginning when I started talking about the whole thing there in the Garden of Eden, which could be allegorical. That's not the point. The point is that the first object of attack is women. I don't know if you know this.
Yes.
But
I do know that. I'm a woman. I'm like, am I under attack? Oh, yes, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Shit. There's a guy wearing a swimsuit like me, but he has a penis.
Yeah.
And he swims.
Yeah, and they want to destroy womanhood. But the other part of this is, from a military perspective in history, we always get the ideas that, the invading armies, they killed all the men and then they took the women to themselves. That didn't always happen that way. Sometimes they killed only the women because they didn't want those tribal people to reproduce. So they would slaughter the women. So that's the whole idea. Yeah. It's to destroy the species and to destroy womanhood. And so again, that's why I've spent so much time.
Well, we've seen that through history. Yeah, you can see where we've destroyed women in acts of war for sure. Yeah. That's the first. I mean, ISIS does that. I mean, hello.
Exactly.
What are they doing? It's literally kidnapping, raping, torturing, and killing women.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that everyone wants to talk about slavery and I mean, I don't want to get into a race cause, but let's just talk about slavery now.
Right.
You want to get in dollar print or get pissed off that your ancestors were a slave. Guess what?
There's a slave.
Probably a kid 2 blocks down that's a slave. In the most literal terms, and we're all slaves, for sure.
And there are human trafficking things right now, as you're very well aware, and the corporate society that we live in is a slave system, and if you don't abide in that slave system, they come after you.
Preach.
Right. Well, let's go to another call. I appreciate you calling, Debbie.
Yeah.
It's always good hearing from you. Give me a call and let's talk some more privately, okay?
Dude, we need to do a live chat. It would be fun.
Okay.
I would love to take
By the way, everybody, if you don't know who this is, Debbie came on a nightcap show. She used to be a bartender, and we talked about bartending. That was the nightcap show. And then the next morning, we did a regular show where she talked about a Democrat supporting Trump. So she's kind of a minor celebrity.
I think I'm the only Democrat that Lloyd still respects and probably would drink a beer with, because I don't even want to drink a beer with a Democrat lately. So
hey,
there we go.
my wife Carol was a Democrat. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I know, that's why we have to.
And we had a great
respect each
time.
other.
And we had a great time. But I learned some things, and so did she. So it goes both ways. All right, Debbie, you take care.
Hey, Roy, the only reason why we talk, we're both widows. We got the W on our chest.
Well, that's
there
right.
we go, boy.
A lot of truth to that. Okay, you take care, Debbie. God bless you.
Yeah. You take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Get another call. I'm listening.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Okay, this one, I think it says you're from Alberta, so this is another international call. Is that the case? And what's your name? Hello?
This is Liza Jean.
Liza Jean?
It's Liza Jean.
Liza Jean! Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm talking to Liza Jean. You know, I've been wanting to talk to you for because you're so much help, and I think we were trying to make a connection like I don't know 2 years ago, right? And there was some problem where I couldn't get. I don't remember, but anyway, it's good. This is one of my most loyal mods, ladies and gentlemen. Just so you know, Liza
I
Jean.
was your first mod, and people were coming in chat saying a bunch of kooky stuff, and I just said, "You are not the boss of Roy," and that was it. You gave me a crown.
Oh yeah. Well, I need all the help I can get. And I learned through life that the best help you get is usually from women. I always kind of go along with the subject matter we were just talking about. So I appreciate all you do. Thanks so much.
Well, I won't stay on long. I just think do you see the direction the call-in show is taking? Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I didn't anticipate that it would be quite like this, but I'd like to have a more efficient setup, but my main problem, as you probably are aware, I've said it a number of times, is the internet out here is just terrible. So if I come out and use OWS and the streaming software and set everything up, even with my Wi-Fi or even a direct connection into the internet system, it constantly goes down and fluctuates in bandwidth, and I lose it. So that's why I use the phone now, because the phone connection through my phone service, which isn't Wi-Fi, of course, it's the regular phone service internet. At least it'll cut out, but it's not nearly as bad as the Wi-Fi out here. So, but I'm glad you like it. So you think this is working out okay?
It's working well, and I want to suggest that you stop apologizing.
I knew you were going to say that. Well,
yeah, how did you?
All
right. We need to count our blessings, and at any moment, everything could go down.
True.
All right.
True.
So every time there's a connection, we just need to just be so thankful.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you.
I know it's hilarious, and I do think that we're cousins.
Somewhere back there, I'm sure we are. You can't have this. Let this mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, right? Now, this I'm quoting Paul, who was very suspicious, but I know where he got this. That he, finding himself in the form of God, thought it not robbery to make himself equal to God. And that's an example for us, and that's going to cause some people to go nuts. But what I'm saying is yes, we have these connections. Very likely we are connected DNA-wise, genetic-wise, somewhere back because we think alike. Yes, that's absolutely true.
Well, we're all one family, and I will not keep you. I look forward to the next calls, and I'm so thrilled because the last caller who knows you well, what's her name? It starts with a D.
Debbie, yeah, Debbie Donovan. She's had a rough time in her life too, but she's got a good sense of humor, and she's real smart, and she has. She's done a lot of things, which is why I had her on a live stream on Nightcap, and then a live stream on a political situation. I met her, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah.
They were doing, she and a colleague were doing some work with the Utah State Legislature on, every society has perverts in it. I mean, it doesn't matter what society you have, even in the priesthood, right? You get that. But there is a problem with the way things have been handled in Utah. And there was some difficulties with, and you've even heard this throughout the regular Mormon church. There was a big deal on that in Arizona here not too long ago. And there's an ongoing case right now. But at any rate, so they wanted to talk to me since I had been in plural marriage. They wanted to know what I knew about some of these activities that were abusive of women and children. And so they interviewed me, and that's how I got to know them. And we've stayed in contact ever since.
Well, what she said that she really enjoyed, and I think everybody is feeling the same way, is all the different questions. It's like a smorgasbord. You don't know what's going to happen next, right?
Oh yeah, it's sort of like My mama says that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. And you know, I don't know everything, of course, you know that. But I am, you know, I'm very well educated. I have a lot of experience. You know, I've done a lot of different things. As a matter of fact, my business card on that I use, it says experience has no equals. If you all want to use that,
Ooh.
you can. I didn't copyright it. So if you want to use it, experience has no equal or experience has no equals. I guess for subject verb agreement and all that, subject predicate agreement would be experience has no equal. So, and that's what's on my card. So, yeah. Again,
There
you don't know
go.
everything.
Well, my card just says Liza Jean Original.
Well, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that works. That works really
Yeah.
well. It does.
Yeah.
Well, good.
No, it's so good talking with you. And I look forward to, I don't know, as long as we have to compare notes and talk about the scriptures. My background is evangelical Baptist Pentecostal, but I studied Greek and Latin and all that stuff. There are a lot of people who really quest for knowledge. And one person does not have all the answers. Otherwise, why would there be all the infighting? It's hilarious.
Exactly. You know, the scriptures cover that too. Again, it's Pauline, but I know where he got this. You know, I have a problem with Paul.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that. But, you know, it's the scripture that says, you know, um, there's the head, there's the arm, there's the leg. You know, everybody has a part to play. Not everybody does the same thing. Not everybody knows the same thing. But if we have love for each other and we work together, we all get a chance to work in that same body. So that's how I look at it. Even though I have a problem.
Well, I think we all have talents and we need to barter.
Yes.
And,
exactly.
you know, get rid of the fiat system. They're trying to push
the digital
everything here in Ontario. It's difficult. Try not to even think about that. I keep pulling back to my everyday life and saying, can you walk? Can you talk? Can you see? Are you happy? Are you safe? And I have to keep doing that now because we're just being assaulted by our water cooler points like Ohio. Well, I'm within 200 miles of that, but I don't care of it because I can do nothing about it. And I'm safe today, and I rest in faith. I really do.
And that's the way you approach it, and that's good. And I think everybody should take that. You know, we had that caller earlier who was wondering, you know, about his dream and how to handle the problems.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think, you know, there's a saying I heard the other day, and I think the person was saying it for my benefit. It was, you are trying to bear burdens that your shoulders were never meant to bear. You can only take care of what you can take care of.
Yeah. Okay, on that note, I'm going to let you go, but it was lovely talking with you.
Same here, Liza Jean. I'm glad we did it. And you can call this number anytime. I'll find yours on here. As a matter of fact, why don't you text me?
Okay.
And so I know it's you, and then I'll know which number is yours, and we can keep.
Well, you heard my voice, and you've got my number.
All righty. Hey, thanks so much.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk to you
All
later.
Right.
Thanks for everything you do.
Bye.
Wow, that was a surprise. I mean, I knew she was online here, of course, because she's been taking the chat and policing it in there, keeping the room clean, and I appreciate that. Liza's been with me for a long time. Never met her in person, but it's fun to talk to somebody that you know, has been online with you all that time. Okay, well, let's see. It's been almost an hour and a half, and I think we've accomplished our purposes here. I'm not going to go through the chat. That would take a lot of time. This was the primary thing that we wanted to do tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming. And just so you know, and it's true, you are the enemy that the powers that be are about trying to eliminate. So stay on top of that. I will take this call. Let's do this. This is from Michigan, looks like. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Angela.
Angela, how are you, Angela?
I'm good. Oh my God, I can't believe I got through. I heard the other beeps in the background. I thought, oh, we'll see.
Well, I was going to hang up and let everybody go, but then this call came in, and I thought, I can take another one, Angela. So I appreciate you.
Why not, right?
Yeah. So what you got?
Well, the thing, well, I just wanted to say I'm a little nervous. I'll get over it though.
That's okay.
I just am so grateful for the work you do. I so many times I listen to you and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have such a strong passion for truth. I've teared up many times listening to you. So.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I was telling Eliza Jean here just a minute ago, you know, I am well read, I am well educated, I've had a lot of experience, and my motto is experience has no equal, but at the same time, there's always space for correction and learning, and so I'm open to that.
Oh, I know, you're humble. You're like, don't tell me I'm all that, but I really love the call-in show idea, and geez, I hope you do more of them.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing a call-in show several times a month. And I'm also planning on doing interviews on the phone, like I'm going to do this weekend with my oldest son, Jeremy, who's quite a biblical scholar in and of on his own account, and has had very personal, very spectacular spiritual experiences. Much.
Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah, I think I don't know that he'll talk about his encounters. I don't know that he'd do that, and I'm not going to ask him to. I think we're going to spend the time talking about Psalms 82 and how it impacts everything we're seeing today, because that's really
nice. That's nice. Yeah, the last thing I want to get in real quick is like when I don't comment all the time, but in your chat sometimes quantum ethics is my name. My name in your chat.
All righty. Well, I'll look for it. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yep. And you have a good night.
You do the same, and stay in touch. Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
Out here. All right. I'm going to turn this off so that you know, we can end all this, and you all don't have to sit here and. Here we are. Okay. So I turned the phone off so that we won't get interrupted again. And
power off.
All right, see, I told you. So I did it. I got a speaker, so that I'm glad you could hear the callers. I know that the ringing is a problem. I'm still not sure if I can adjust that without having a control board back here. But I think it worked out pretty well. I'm a little disappointed that my friend didn't call. I called you earlier. You know who you are. I called you earlier and said well, actually, you texted me, and then I told you I was going to do this. Gave you the number, and I really thought maybe you did, and I just missed the call. But at any rate, an old colleague of mine, I shouldn't call him old, a colleague of mine for many years, let's put it that way. But at any rate, hopefully sometime he'll call in and he can tell you about some of my escapades, because he knows them all. So anyway, so this has worked out pretty well. I didn't quite keep the callers to the 30-second question or comment, but I think it went a lot better than it did the first night that we tried this. So I appreciate everybody coming. I know we didn't touch anything hardly in the chat, because that wasn't really the purpose of this. Hopefully you all are, giving each other information back and forth. I won't spend the time now talking about, the government problem and what it's doing to us, and the corporations and the true fascism that's going on. The fact that this war that's going on in Ukraine is really about you. It's not even about Russia. I mean, it is about Russia, but it's about stealing from you, as I've often said, to take your blood and your treasure. We have to tell them we don't want this. We have to tell them. The Rage Against the War machine that happened in D.C. was a good idea, but they were a little restrictive because they forget that self-defense is legitimate. And I know everybody can make an excuse for war under the banner of self-defense, but it really does exist. There are things that you have to do. You don't lay down and let them cut your head off without putting up a resistance. Historically, war is bad. Spiritually, war is bad. But at the same time, if somebody's trying to break into your house, you can't just let them have their way with your family. You got to take action, and that's under those circumstances, it's justified. Each situation has its own specific parameters. But what we have done to instigate these things that are going on against Russia is shameful. It's murderous, it's thievery, it's thuggery, it's deceit. And I'd say that if we were doing this to any country, which we have, as you know. But I won't get into that tonight. I think we've done enough. A lot of arson, a lot of what looks like attacks on our manufacturing, food production, energy production. That's another thing. I got some information that some other power stations were attacked the other day, and that apparently there were some, I guess they were either soldiers or police officers that caught the perpetrators. And get this, because we said this was going to happen. They had MAGA Trump stuff on their truck. Now, of course they weren't Trump supporters. Of course they weren't MAGA people. We know that the enemies are going to pretend to be the people that really do. They're going to pretend to be, our enemies are going to pretend to be the people that believe in liberty, in the Bill of Rights, Constitution, etc. I'm not saying the Constitution's perfect. I'm not saying that. I'd just as soon have a monarchy, actually, because at least then you know whose head to chop off. But the principles of freedom and liberty are there. Nobody that believes in that is going to be out there doing what these guys did. Sort of like the feds that were putting on, and the Antifa people that were putting on Trump stuff on January 6th. In World War II, and I'm sure the Americans did this same sort of thing, it was at the Battle of the Bulge. And German paratroopers got in behind the American lines, and they had American soldiers' uniforms with the MP band, the military police band. And what they were doing is they were redirecting the traffic that was going to the front to fight the Germans. They redirected them to the wrong place. So this isn't the first time this has happened. Okay, but they're doing it to us wholesale. Plus, we've invited tons of enemies into our country unvetted anyway. That's all by design. Biden's a traitor. Christopher Wray's a traitor. Austin's a traitor. Not Austin, Texas, the Secretary of Defense. The only reason why they're not being held up as such is because they have the power structure behind them. But they're a traitor just as much as any traitor we've ever had in history. Actually, I have more respect for Benedict Arnold than I have for these people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know I can get loquacious, right? So I'll cut it off there. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. Prep, pray, and stay out of the way. I had my youngest daughter call me today. And she said, Dad, it's happening. Just like you've said over the years, it's all happening. Coming from her. Wow. So if you just open your eyes and you see, and I know most everybody that's on here are keeping your eyes open. But we need a lot more people to at least be willing to look at these things and understand that they aren't just happenstance coincidences. They're deliberate attacks on us. Y'all take care. Out for now.